Last segment, we did the great debate. Now we're doing the greatest debate. We're debating who's the GOAT. Is Travis Kelce, at tight end, the GOAT?
No.
Of his position?
He's not. Rob Gronkowski is. Rob Gronkowski was an all-world blocker and an all-world receiver. And Travis Kelce's an all-world receiver and not an all-world blocker. He's a willing blocker, but the other guy was like a tackle. I mean, when he blocked. You look at the yards per catch, and I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, Gronkowski is 18 for a tight end. That's incredible. So Gronkowski, to me, is the best tight end ever.
It's unbelievable what Rob Gronkowski was able to accomplish in his career. And to think that these guys are like the same age. We could almost still have Rob Gronkowski playing. But Travis's run in Kansas City will be unmatched, in my opinion, by any tight end ever. I mean, the only guy who really concerns me is the guy in Las Vegas right now, Brock Bowers. He's fantastic from a production standpoint.
So you think Kelce's the best?
I think Kelce, if he sticks around for another couple of years, could cement himself as the greatest tight end that ever played the game of football.
The one thing Kelce has wholesale over Gronk is availability. Kelce was always there.
Yep.
He was always healthy. Gronk,
15 yards per catch, by the way, for a tight end in his career.
As Gronk was.
Unbelievable.
And I do think, like, peak, who was the best of their peak, I'm not arguing that it was Gronk.
Gronk was a created player on Madden. Let's make him as big as we can, as muscular as we can. Let's max out his run-blocking traits, max out all his red zone traits.
If you ask me who's had the more star-studded and that kind of career, I would go with Kelce. If you ask me who the better player was, I would go with Gronkowski. And would you agree with me on that?
That is always the great GOAT debate, is do you want peak? Who's the best, like, literally at any single point in time?
Right.
I agree it's Gronk.
Right.
If you want, like, you draft them and you get their entire career, I think you'd want Kelce, because he was always there. And he's playing until late 30s.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
if you look at it from that standpoint, yes, Kelce's had a better.
Is the best ability.
Yeah, but the best player, that was the question, right? Who's the best tight end? The GOAT tight end? He was the GOAT to me. And we just discount the old timers, by the way.
Yep.
Well,
come on.
different game.
Kellen Winslow
It is a
changed
different
the
game.
game.
If Kellen Winslow was in this game,
Changed the game.
If he was in this game, the way it's played now, he'd catch 160 passes.
I remember my rookie year,
That
went
was
to the
hyperbole.
Pro Bowl, and I saw, and you get one little star when you go. You get a star for every Pro Bowl you make. So my jersey said long 75. I had one little star. I saw Tony Gonzalez, and his jersey. It was like it was like
It was 50 states.
It was like it was the United States flag. But the guy had stars shoulder to shoulder, and they went around the front.
John Mackey. I mean, back in the day.
Mackey.
I mean,
Throw out more names
what?
that I didn't get to watch play, but
Didn't get to watch John Mackey.
No, he didn't.
But Dad always said Kellen Winslow changed the game.
Kellen Winslow in today, okay, 160, maybe 140.
Okay.
Hell, Bowers was on pace to catch 100. What did he catch? He was on pace at one point to catch 130.
Find out how long he can do that.
Zach Ertz, what did he have? 125 that one year, 127? He could catch 140, Kellen Winslow in today's game.
all right, Saquon Barkley, is he having the GOAT running back season of all time? I guess that would be redundant to say of all time. Does he have the GOAT running back season?
I'm hard-pressed to say this is the greatest season for a running back because of the fact that he may have one of the greatest offensive lines to ever play in front of him, in conjunction with the fact that they can get an extra set of downs every fourth down. And who are they going to give the ball to on fourth down? It's Jalen Hurts. Saquon gets to go and do the runs that Saquon probably enjoys in terms of down and distance and scheme. When it comes time to put your neck and your face in it, they're making Jalen Hurts do that. When Saquon Barkley gets inside the 3-yard line, they're giving the ball to Jalen Hurts. I think that if Nick Sirianni, Kellen Moore, and Jalen Hurts would allow for Saquon to score touchdowns in the low red area, I might be able to say this is the greatest because of the touchdown numbers. They're way down this year because of the tush push.
It's in the conversation, obviously. And if he has another big game and they win it, then I think there's no question it is.
TD went for 2001 Super Bowl, right? Terrell Davis?
Yep.
And his one. So
98.
If he wins it, I think it's going to be hard to argue, at least from like a accolade statistical perspective, not many
You know what's interesting is you remember those old Denver teams, they were the kind of the teams, no matter who ran the ball in that offense, and he was special.
Making hay.
Like remember Mike Anderson would go in, Alanis Gary would go in, they all run the ball because it was that zone scheme, and that was like, back then you could chop on the backside, remember?
Cut.
cut those guys on the back of their legs, and so you'd see him start one way, come back, chop, and boom. So it was different. This team is made because of the offensive line. Here's the question you have to ask: would Barkley in New York, what would he have this year had he stayed in New York? And it's a legitimate question. What would he have? Give me a ballpark figure.
1,200.
1,200 yards is where I was going to land on.
I mean, you're basically parroting PFF talking points from a decade ago. We were talking about.
I don't want to hold any. I don't want to hold any of the success that Saquon Barkley has had against him because of his offensive line.
Before PFF was around, I hated the running back position. You could go back and look it up.
There are very few. That's why, I think Barry Sanders, people consider him the GOAT running back, is because he's like one of the few that did it with relative nobodies along the offensive line.
And by the way, we talk about Emmitt Smith and all the yards he piled up. They had one of the greatest offensive lines of all time as well.
Very few did it behind average to below average.
Barry did. You're right, though.
It's a symbiotic relationship there.
What do we got here? We
got a little something joining the set here.
Oh, beautiful.
What?
Thanks, Steve-O.
There's some andouille sausage on there.
Wow.
That's a boil.
Fry.
That isn't just.
Can I get my fingers in here right now?
Look at that. That isn't just crawfish.
And I heard earlier, Pete, you've not had a crawfish.
I haven't.
Do you even know how to eat the crawfish?
No, I do not.
You grab the head and you twist the tail off. It's like a mini lobster.
Like this.
Okay.
It's
How do you eat that?
Here, give me. I'll just eat that. You can twist it. I'm gonna twist.
You twist.
You gotta.
I'll crack the chest.
You give it like
here.
a suck. You suck the inside. You don't bite the. There you go.
You know what? When in Rome, do as the Romans do.
Hit your boy up.
Sorry.
No,
not bad.
Louisiana fish fry.
Great flavor.
Thank you so much.
Great flavor. No heat.
I will say, as far as regional food traditions go, New Orleans is pretty damn good. There's not many that I would take over.
But like I said,
cuisine.
This is good. Lobster's better. Shrimp's better.
Well,
no offense.
You're paying a little bit more.
But I will say this: I love the spice of it. I'll have that plate over there. You can have some of that andouille sausage. That's one of the best things going.
The only problem I'm running into here is there's just not enough meat. We got to get a bigger arthropod.
Dude, I don't know.
What the hell are we eating? What is a crawfish?
By the way,
it's nature's
one of the most underrated New Orleans things that there is that andouille sausage right there. Underrated.
Is that Bill Gates' bugs diet? Watch out now, big bugs.
I'm gonna make the most insane food thing ever said on a show for New Orleans, and they're gonna get mad at me. Ready? Beignets are funnel cake.
They are.
Here we go.
Zeppelis for the Italians, and you go to any Italian feast, it's zeppoli. They're the same thing. Funnel cake, zeppoli, and beignets. True or false?
You can't get a beignet at the state fair. You can get.
You're acting
cakes.
like that makes it bad. Those things are all great.
That's insulting to the beignet.
This is good.
That it's what?
That's sausage.
I like the potato. Then again, I'm an Irishman.
All right, let's get back to some goats.
We can't. We got a mouthful of food.
Potatoes are goats.
Speaking of the Eagles and their offensive line, is this the best is this the GOAT modern offensive line? Because obviously comparing offensive line between eras, very difficult. But I'd say the last 15 years, is this current incantation of the Eagles the best offensive line you've seen over that span?
15 years?
Yes. Basically since passing games have been in their current form.
Let me ask you this, though. Is this Eagles offensive line better than the one when Kelsey was on it from 2 years ago?
See, I think the addition of Becton has been a bigger upgrade than the downgrade is from Kelsey to Jurgens.
And the progression of Jordan Mailata as well.
Mailata's better than he was.
And Mailata is an all-pro now, or close to an all-pro, where he was not back then.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, because Dickerson's probably better now than he was then, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, people forget he was a center in college.
Right. So, yes, to answer your question, I think it is.
Yeah, I'm trying to just historically, I don't remember one that not only there's some really good pass protecting offensive lines over the last 50 years, some really good run blocking offensive lines. There's not one that I think has been unquestionably the best at both in one season the way this Eagles one is. They just you have to bring your hard hat and helmet every single game.
Let me ask you this, though. You don't think the one with Kelsey, you don't think Kelsey, I think Kelsey was much better not much better, but
you're talking about the Brandon Brooks here.
But Kelsey was better than much better than Jurgens.
He was better. I don't know if he was much better.
He moves better.
The one with Jason Peters, Brandon Brooks.
Jason Peters and Brandon Brooks were man-eaters.
Those years might have been better. I mean, that's why they won that Super Bowl. So that was different. They've had this for a decade now.
Yeah. I mean, it goes back to the old story. Draft big people. There's only so many of them on the planet who can play the game. I say it all the time. You know it. You lived it. You were part of it. If your line stinks, I don't care if Barkley is Barkley. If that line isn't any good, he's going, like you said, maybe for 1,200.
All right, last one here, real quick. The tush push is the GOAT play in the NFL right now.
In terms of what?
Just like,
I hate
is it the best play? Like with the effectiveness, Eagles specifically.
Is it effective? From that standpoint, absolutely. Do I enjoy it? I think it stinks.
I think pulling guards in any way is the GOAT play. Pulling a guard
the
or a
most
tackle.
biased thing. You said a lot of biased things.
I used to love pulling guards.
Counters.
Yep.
Give me some counter action.
Yep.
Give me a running back with some patience,
do you like
some
the
vision.
Tush push?
I mean, no one likes the tush push. It's objectively
the
like
owner of
boring,
the Packers, the president of the Packers, hates it.
He's trying to.
Can't stand it.
But it truly is. I mean, to ban the tush push is to ban the Eagles because they do it so much more than anyone else in the NFL. 10 times more than the Bills, who are second place, 3 times more than the team that did it in third place.
You know who hates the tush push? Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
His numbers would be even better.